Muted.
Okay, good morning and welcome to another ACT webinar by 12-3. My name is Stephen Bolden. I will be hosting today's ACT webinar on what's new in ACT v19. ACT v19 is the upcoming latest release of ACT. The current version of ACT as of this time is 18.2. ACT version 19 will be coming out on January 11th, 2017. And with it, we got a lot of new exciting features in here, and I'm excited to go over them. So the new features of ACT v19, most of what we're going to talk about today is going to center around what's called the ACT Web API. Now this is one of SwiftPage's PowerPoint slides that I've borrowed for today's meeting, but it's got a lot of really great stuff in here on what the Web API is. But we'll go through it in order, and it breaks it down into a few different segments here. The first is that we're going to be bringing compatibility to 64-bit Office. More on that soon. Next, we have new connections with our ACT Premium Web API and subscription. These subscription features are only going to be available to ACT Premium users who are on an active subscription plan. Again, more on that soon. Performance and enhancements to ACT e-marketing. There's a few highly requested features that they're continuously streamlining that, and some of these features are going to be available to everyone because they're doing some of them server-side. Others you will need the v19 update for. And we've also got other defects and enhancements. So in regards to compatibility, ACT v19 is now compatible with 64-bit Office. This is very nice, but also Microsoft has always recommended that you install the 32-bit version of Office anyway. There's Windows and Office can both be 64-bit or 32, and they can be independent of each other. Even if you have a 64-bit Windows machine, Office is usually installed 32-bit. Microsoft still recommends that due to compatibility with other apps. But in the event that you do have 64-bit and very much want it, ACT will now work with 64-bit Office. And of course, version 19 will also work with Office 2016, 2013, and 2010. Those are the 64-bit version editions that it's compatible with. I believe it also works back to 2007 as well, but I'm certain there isn't a 64-bit edition of 2007. New connections that we have with the Web API. Actually, I'm going to take a step back. They're missing a slide here about their compatibility tab. They're also rolling out compatibility with SQL Server 2016. That's not going to be included in the 19.0 release that's coming on January 11th. But SQL Server is, for those that are unaware, it's kind of the underlying framework that ACT is entirely built upon. And the previous and current versions of ACT rely on SQL 2014, but they say that sometime around maybe Q1 or Q2, they're going to be rolling out a 19.1 update, and it's going to be working with 2016. New connections for ACT. This is something I'm very excited for, and I know a lot of people will huzzah over this. We're getting our own ACT mobile app. It's called ACT Companion. This is an official app developed by SwiftPage. It's an actual app. It's not just a web browser. You'll find it in the iOS App Store or in the Android Google Play Store. And it will be an actual ACT mobile app. This is all run based on something called the Web API. Now the Web API, I keep using this term, it's a technical server-side portal, I suppose you can say. It's a set of instructions that will allow external applications to communicate very easily in a widely adopted and standardized web format. This really means that ACT is now open to being connected to thousands of other online services, other accounts, and platforms that you use every day. And in addition to opening up this Web API, it was easy for the ACT developers to build this ACT Companion mobile app that's going to be able to load information right out of ACT, save it to your phone. You'll be able to get things like push notifications on your phone, possibly even caller ID as incoming calls are made and they're found in your address book. I think this is going to be really nice. It's not available yet, but they say that it will be released in January along with v19, and it will be free. For those of you who may notice the fine print at the bottom, being covered by my PDF here, it says that this is available for customers with a current subscription only. So this Act Connect companion will only be available if you have a subscription. That being said, handheld contact is currently probably the market leader in getting Act on a mobile device. Plenty of you are handheld contact users. For the time being, I still like it. I think that it is the most superior way to get Act on your mobile phone that currently exists, but it is a paid feature. I suppose that we will wait to see when this comes out, if it's a strong enough competitor, if I will switch over in my recommendation. We will have to wait and see. Some FAQs on the Act Connect companion mobile app. Available iOS 9 and up, some Android versions, L, K, and M. And it's currently going to have contacts, activity, and histories. They mentioned at the conference as well that in the future there is going to be one that focuses on opportunities as well, and also companies. So they will be adding to this app throughout 2017. We're going to talk about this Act Premium contact link, but I'm going to move to the side into something called Zapier for now. Zapier ties in with this web API, and I did a demo on this last week, and I will be repeating another one soon. Zapier is they kind of work as a bridging service. They are a third-party service that has their engineers just write integrations between thousands of other online web apps that can do all sorts of triggers and actions to thousands of other web apps. And Act Premium is now in the list. As I scroll through some of the different Zapier applications, a lot of you may notice things that are familiar here. We got Gmail, Google Calendar, Slack, MailChimp, Twitter, Facebook, Dropbox, WordPress, PayPal, Etsy, Eventbrite. There are literally thousands of these, and I will not be naming them all, but possibly as I scroll through, you can see some of these things. Oh, we use PayPal on our website. Maybe get your gears turning as to how could that integrate with Act. And one of the great things is that anything that you see in this list, for the most part, does have some type of trigger that will work with Act. For example, one that I demoed last week, add Act contacts from Wufoo entries. Wufoo is a free online form builder that helps you build drag and drop forms that you can put on your website. You could have a web form on your website that actually creates new contacts in Act and follows up with activities and notes and history triggers in kind of a chain of events. This is all ready to go with v19. In fact, I've even tested it, and it works with version 18.2 as well. And it's finally going to be ready for the prime time when v19 comes out. I have some of these already working and running. Create Act contacts from Google Contacts or Eventbrite attendees. These are just some of their popular ones. Some of you may be QuickBooks Online customers and you want those to synchronize and integrate. The futures are very wide with this. So if you go to Zapier.com and explore through their different apps that they have here, I want you to think about the online services that you use and how you can get those to integrate with Act. And so they've developed another integration here. They're calling it Act Premium Contact Link. This is something that I haven't gotten to see too much of myself yet, because this is another one that is slated to be released a little bit after v19. The reason that it's part of this presentation, though, is because the new features they're rolling out aren't necessarily going to be part of the locally installed applications any longer. It's really going to be on this web and compatibility connected world side. They want to bring Act online. And this Act contact link is going to be a new way for Act and Outlook to connect server side using the web API so that it doesn't have to run locally on your computer. It can log activities and histories not just on emails but also based on your Outlook calendar, connect multiple contacts at once. It will all be server side, and it's going to be magnificent if it's as good as they say. Again, something I haven't gotten to see, but this is something that us ACCs and plenty of Act users have been calling for years and years, about trying to fix the Outlook integration. So this seems very promising, and I'm glad that they have heard us and that they will be releasing this Act Premium contact link for Outlook to handle that. So the new web API, they have a hosted API service. They call it Act Connect. This is something that's great for us on the technical side. Suffice it to say that when you install Act, you don't need to worry about setting up your own special server ports. You don't have to have a web server or anything really complicated. There is a built-in hosted feature called Act Connect that does all of this API stuff for you. It's really a straightforward install, and it's hosted on your own computer. So for those of you that are thinking, you don't want to mess with your web server, you don't know how you're going to be handling that, fortunately you do have the Act Connect that will handle this for you. Again, this is premium only. E-marketing improvements. They've changed some of the core e-marketing code for how e-marketing emails are sent out so that they can be sent up to 5 times faster. I got to meet a very brilliant man named Andy Wood. He's the developer of Act e-marketing, and I met him in Scottsdale, and we had many conversations about this. He's very passionate about the product, and he's going to be making Act e-marketing a lot better. These performance improvements are nice. I've already noticed them in my own campaigns, that the e-marketing emails do send out faster. They've also added some other kind of minor convenience features, things that probably should have been added a couple years ago, but hey, better late than never. Things like being able to see in real time how many contacts you have left in this monthly period that you can send to, how many in this email blast were already sent to this month, being able to, Act will fail the email blast if you're over the send limit, but this time it will actually tell you why. Minor things like that will help make this more convenient for those of you that are using Act e-marketing heavily. And if you're not using Act e-marketing, then please get in contact with me because I will help you get set up. There's also more efficient ways of how Act e-marketing will be recording history within Act. Some of you may have noticed very cluttered history tabs full of Act e-marketing campaign results. They are finally going to just be consolidating these down for each email blast. It's going to be on one line. It's a big efficiency improvement over how it kind of handles it right now, with the same score data being updated in the same record. Other enhancements that they have here, they've come out with a new report file extension called the .rep2. And I'll show you here. I have a virtual machine with the Act v19 beta set up. You'll see that it largely looks very much the same as the Act you know and love, and that's good. I don't, no need to really change up the whole interface here. Under reports, we have some of these files are called .rep2. This is a new file extension they've made that use a new reporting format, and they've updated a lot of these reports that haven't been touched in years. Some of these are actually, for those of you that use the reports often, you'll notice some of the differences. I was playing around with them myself, but this demo database that they have doesn't have much data in it to really make a big difference. As I look at these contact reports, for example, I don't know if any of you can see that, but there's more. They may look the same on the surface, but there's more options for different fields within here and sub-reports within each report that will give us a higher degree of flexibility for those of you that like to print and use these default reports within Act often. A big push that they've made for this version of Act as well is to try to bridge the parity between Act for Web and Act Desktop. I'm glad. I think that's a noble mission. I don't know how much demand there is for it. But, I'm glad they're at least continuing to improve the web product. Under the Tools menu, this is Act for Web version 19 that I have running here. And under the Tools menu, we have more features such as scan for duplicates and copy and move contact data. A lot of these administrative functions aren't things that people ever do from the web version. In my mind, I'm always of the opinion that if you're going to do this kind of admin work on Act, to do it from the server on the local desktop client for the machine. Having it in the web version is pleasant. Don't know how much it'll be used, but good for them. I also have downloaded here a listing of all of the defects fixed in version 19. And as we scroll through, I believe we have close to 200. We have 188 defects that are logged and fixed in version 19. And most of these are on the web version. All of these defects that start with APFW, and most of them are minor cosmetic things, but message box needs formatting, borders not appearing, minor display things like that. There's been over 188 defects that were logged and resolved. We'll be coming out with version 19, and almost all of them are on the web version side. And we're finally getting Chrome support back again. Chrome support is something that Act for Web rolled out in version 17, saying they would support Chrome. And then Chrome is very frequently updated by Google. They release new updates about every 2 weeks, and it's hard for them to stay on top of it. So they actually withdrew on that in version 18 by saying that it was officially supported, although many people still continue to use Chrome with Act for Web. Version 19, Chrome is back on the menu for official support. So that will be good. And they talk more about these subscriber benefits. The subscription model is certainly here to stay. I did mention in one of my newsletters that went out that Act Pro is also here to stay. For those of you that are on Act Pro, you have the one-time purchase. You use it for several years. Pro is designed for smaller companies. It's actually going to be limited to, it's currently limited to 10 users on Pro, and there's talks about limiting it to 5. But those are just talks at the moment. It's still officially set at 10. Pro is going to be kind of left behind a little bit as the years go on. Pro 19 is still coming out. It will be 64-bit Office compatible, but considering that many of you updated to version 18 for Act Pro so that you could get the Windows 10 compatibility and the Office 2016 compatibility, that was part of Act v18, I think that you're fine to stick with 18. There's no need to move to 19 from 18 if you're on Pro. If you're on Premium, then you get 19 for free anyway. So I absolutely recommend that we do an update in version 19 when it comes out. Act's vision is not to have all these different versions of Act floating around and doing major releases between each one. They really just kind of want to have ongoing development at all times, keep pushing through new updates. People just keep updating and installing and rolling on. You have an annual renewal, but as long as you're renewing every year, you get unlimited support and upgrades throughout it. And they're pushing that more so that it's not just upgrades and support. It's also these web API connected features to connect Act with your online world and the Act companion app. And that concludes their PowerPoint here. I will open the floor for some questions here. I'll take you guys off mute if there's anything in particular that you wanted to see or hear. Please feel free to speak up.
Stephen, I thought your dad had said that they might be doing something with enhancing the font on the new versions. It doesn't look like they changed that. Because I always found, Jeff mentioned this on one of the webinars, I forgot the exact terminology of it, but I always found it very difficult, especially with my aging eyes, to read the font on my desktop for the I use Pro, and
yeah.
And I saw you had a picture of the v19 mobile. You didn't. I don't think you showed a picture of the v19 desktop, but it doesn't look like they changed the fonts any, did they?
Well, the fonts are actually, they've been customizable in many versions of Act. If you go to Tools and then Preferences, there is a Colors and Fonts tab here. And we can change each one of these independently, but it will show things like on contacts or contact lists. you can change the font settings of what font you're using and also the sizing here. I can help you customize that if you'd like. If you want to make all of the fonts within ACT larger, we can actually go into your ACT preferences, and it's set to size 8 by default. But if you'd like that boosted way up, we can certainly do that. Please just send me an email after the call. Maybe we'll coordinate a time to do that together.
Oh, good. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. No problem. Anything
Stephen,
else? Yeah.
Stephen, as far as the Office compatibility, is it compatible with Office 365?
That's an excellent question. Office 365 comes with local installs of Office, and so if you use your Office 365 account to install the local versions of Word, Excel, and Outlook, then yes. Now, if you're using only the web versions, the native integration is no, but using something like Zapier does have Office 365 integration built in. And so this is something that's going to be able to, we can really bridge out from there. It depends on what you mean by integration, because we can do all sorts of triggers with Office 365. If I look at Zapier, they will tell me Office 365 has the following triggers. When someone has a new event added to your calendar, new contact is added, a new calendar is made, a trigger being when you get a new email, or a trigger when you add a new folder to Outlook. Then ACT can take the following actions to add a group, create a contact, add a note, add an activity, or add a history. So one that stands out strongly here could be something like Office 365 triggers when you get a new email, then ACT's response could be add a history to a contact and attach the email within. So this is all done web-side with the web API. If you were using the locally installed versions of Outlook, I believe that it's still probably going to be best to use the local integration until that we can confirm that using the third-party Zapier triggers is the way to go. But this does seem very promising. I have set up a few of these apps. I personally don't have an Office 365 account to be testing this one on my own. But if you'd like to set a time, then we can go try to dig into that one for you. This is actually already working today, so we can do this. This much doesn't have to wait for v19. You just have to have an active subscription to be able to do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope it's promising. You know, I really like where this is going. I was happy to see that they're finally getting everything online and opening up these integrations and connections that some other apps have had for a long time. But again, like I said, better late than never, and I'm happy to see that they're putting in the resources for it. Any other apps or anything in particular that people are wondering about connectivity, or one of your big pain points of what would really make ACT better for you? Well, then all right. I suppose we'll wrap it up for today. Yeah.
Stephen, did you schedule a roadshow yet?
No, we have not. We're still waiting to coordinate with our partner Rachel from SwiftPage. She likes to fly out for these road shows, and I think it's great to have somebody from ACT there in attendance. And we are coordinating with them to see that when we can all make it work. But I promise you that you'll be seeing communications from us when those do come online. We're probably looking at sometime in late January at the moment.
Okay.
Thank you all for attending. I will be doing another session on what's new in v19 as the date gets closer, possibly after release. I'll be re-hosting this meeting again. And please return next week. I will talk to you soon. And thank you. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.